In the old days, I know this is probably going to be hard for some people to understand. People had their like getaway destinations, and they were like within like 10 miles of where they actually lived. So here in Salem, we were at like a small town, and settled ways and all that, and people still wanted a getaway destination. So, for example, there was like 5 miles from Salem, there was this place called like Oakwood Beach, which is it's actually like Delaware River shore with little cabins, with right on top of the water, and people who had some means were like building and living or going to cabins that had this spectacular river view. Now those places are still there, and now they cost a fortune to like buy. Like 2-room houses with a balcony overlooking the river. So that was one, Oakwood Beach. There was another one that my grandfather Laird belonged to, which was called Woodmere. Now this is a man-made lake, maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 acres. It's not very big, and you find it on the Quinton Road or the Jericho Road, depending on which direction you're coming from, and you can't even see it from the road. There's this place, behind a whole bunch of like cedar trees, that is this lovely little lake, and like there were like 13 guys who got together and said, "What we need is a place where we can like get away for weekends and stuff, right?" And the whole idea is it's not like being in town. It's like rustic, and they built cabins all around the lake. So my grandfather Laird joined. He was too Scottish to actually buy a cabin or build a cabin, but he liked to like go rowing in his boat out there, just to get away. Well, in subsequent years, my dad did buy a cabin, and we spent a lot of good time there. That's where I told you about meeting Foreman Acton. And there was something about the place. It was like serene. Cedar Lakes are always brown, but you could go fishing there, and every once in a while you could catch something. So I actually went fishing there with my grandfather Misi, and he's like in his late 70s, early 80s, right? And we would go out in this flat bottom aluminum boat, and we would fish. Now, it's not that I had never had time with him before, because I worked with him in his workshop, in the basement of his house. But this was fun. This was just him and me. And I know, see, now looking back, I know it was like probably physically arduous for him. He's old. And, but we fished and we talked. And this is the great thing. It's like I had this opportunity that I'm thinking that most of you out there never had, which is I got to spend like real quality time with both my grandfathers. And it's not like they're trying to tell me anything. It's like they're telling me about things that they have done in their like lives that are completely, long before me. And nobody's trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to impress them. They're not trying to impress me. But um, we're just like having fun. How many of you have actually out there, like, just had like fun in the sun with a granddad? I couldn't do that with Bob because he had his physical ailments. But Grandpa Macy and I, we had our time. Well, I'm sitting here trying to think if there was ever a time that we actually caught a fish when we were fishing together. We were just probably too busy yakking. And I loved Woodmere. It was the big main part of the lake, and then there was like a corner. It was like out of sight. And this is I would go to Woodmere alone, which I did, and I'd like row around the corner to see the back end of the lake, because this is okay. This is where mythology is. I'm imagining like dinosaurs and mythological creatures, because that's how it felt. Like you could see that if you went around the corner. And it became a place for me to like go in my dreams, Woodmere. It's a place where when everything was like really bad, you could go and you could like be at Woodmere in the boat and hear the water lapping, at the edges of the boat hull. And now, you see, now it's gone. Well, Woodmere is still there, but actually, I actually proposed to my ex-wife at Woodmere on the dam. How quaint and naive is that? Because I thought this was the most romantic place. The dam, the spillway, and I said, okay, I didn't get on my knee. I just said, do you think it's time maybe that we got married? And she said yes. Which, of course, was on my part a big mistake, but I have managed to scrub her from my Woodmere memories. And I can still remember like diving off the main dock, which you can see in the picture I've attached here. And you swim. It's that easy. It's that simple. It's that serene. And we never actually get to go back there, do we?